AI will be the death of us.
Hey y'all,
What's up, y'all?
I'm Elise.
I'm Will.
And this is Team
Team Tatum.
Tatum. Team Tatum! We went to see the early screening of the new movie M3GAN. We went to see it Wednesday. We recorded this Wednesday night only to find out that it did not record. So we're re-recording it now and bringing it to you still before you may have seen it so that you'll know whether you want to see it or not. But if you already saw it, you could just tell us what you thought about it. Anywho, so the movie M3GAN, the synopsis for it is that it was an engineer who works for a toy company, and they decided to create the perfect toy, which was an AI doll, but the doll ended up getting her own mind, basically a life of her own, and that is where the movie takes off, like her realizing herself. And yeah, that's it for the synopsis. Would you like to tell us about the movie, spoiler free?
Uh, Spoiler free. It's basically a modern day Child's Play or Chucky. I know a lot of people don't call it Child's Play; they just call it Chucky because Chucky. But instead of being a satanic ritual that puts a human soul into this, doll's body, it's legit just AI gone wrong. So it's 100% computers that starts off this, murder fest, essentially. Same premise, pretty much. You got a lonely kid who doesn't really deal with the adults that's their guardian or whatever, and then they get this doll, and the doll brings out all the joy in their life, and they're the happiest they've ever been, and they can't be separated from the doll, and then the doll starts murdering people.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Uh, in a nutshell. So, as she said, the main character, I forget the lady's name, but
Gemma,
well, I mean her real name.
get out, lady.
Get out, lady. But yeah, Aunt Gemma. Gemma is an engineer at a huge toy company, and she's basically been trying to get essentially M3GAN up and running for years. Uh, she wants to make, like you said, the perfect toy, and she's doing it off the books. Her coworkers are helping her, so it's not just her by herself. I think she had the initial idea, and then the coworkers have been helping her all this time. And things happen, and she gets the official go ahead to make the doll. She was already doing it behind the scenes on company time and money or whatever, and she gives it to her niece Katie, and Katie loves the doll, and they're like best friends. The doll is super lifelike, like it moves like a robot, but it looks like a real little girl. I mean, to a degree. You still like when you're up close, you can tell like, oh, that's a doll.
Yeah.
But at a glance from far away, uh, you wouldn't know the difference for real. Katie loves it. She's happier than she's ever been. She's been, real depressed lately for obvious reasons if you watch the movie. And M3GAN's main objective is to protect Katie at all costs. And so,
At all
at all
costs.
costs. And so she takes it a little far. She's just following instructions,
Yeah.
but it goes left. And murder ensues. And it is entertaining.
Yeah.
Start to finish. Might be a little slow, might be a little bit of a slow start for some people. But once it revs up, is there. This isn't your typical horror movie. Horror is broad, so this just to give it context, this is not a movie that I personally think anyone will be scared of. Like it's not a lot of jump scares, for real. There are like one or two. They don't do the creepy horror music. There's no horror ambiance.
Mm.
It's a thriller. You're like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
So if you're thinking it's gonna be, you're gonna have nightmares about it, you're not. Uh,
Unless.
unless
You're afraid of dolls.
you're afraid of dolls. If you're afraid of dolls, this probably will do it for you. This will be the equivalent of clowns for people who are afraid of clowns.
Yeah.
Or me, people who are afraid of spiders, watching Arachnophobia. Just the worst idea ever.
Me watching Ratatouille. Mm-mm-mm.
Uh, so just to give you a going in what to expect. Expect thrills and not like, ah, like you're gonna pee yourself in the theater from being scared or anything like that. Anything else you want to say?
I liked it.
I too liked it. I had not really any expectations for it, especially after watching coincidentally, the Child's Play remake, which was god awful. Hated every minute of that. This wasn't a Child's Play remake, but it was obviously inspired by Child's Play.
Possibly.
Well, possibly. And it does it way better. Like it's a successful execution. Whereas in Child's Play, it was like you should have just left it. The '80s one was
Way better.
way better, and it's
Especially that face. Yuck.
oh yeah, the face is horrible. It's like, how do you let something from 20 years ago outdo you?
Right.
I was also scared because one of the taglines for it is from the producers of uh,
Black phone.
Black Phone and Annabelle.
Yeah.
Now, we love Annabelle. Annabelle
Mhm.
is top notch in our books. We know it's hit or miss for some people, but for us,
We love it.
love it. But Black Phone, eesh, rough.
Didn't do it for us.
Didn't do it for us.
Sorry. Sorry to that man.
Yeah. Ethan Hawke, you did great. Ethan Hawke, I
Oh.
give you your due. Everything else, yeah, I'm out. The little girl in Black Phone, also, I give you your props. Literally everybody else, writer, director, all that, nah, sorry, fail.
Daddy. Ugh.
Uh,
Acting on that, man.
so I was like, ugh. Between the Child's Play remake and Black Phone, I was like, I don't know, but at least wanted to see it, so we go see it, and I was thoroughly surprised. I was like, yeah, I would recommend this for people to watch.
Yeah. And I literally knew nothing about the movie other than Megan was a doll. And I wasn't even sure if she was a doll from what I saw beforehand. She could have just been literally AI, like the movie back in the day, AI. She could have been something like that. I didn't know. But the one scene that I did see from the previews, from the trailers, was still like, what? in the movie when it happened. You probably have seen it, the little dance break that she did in the trailer that came out of nowhere. When you're watching the movie, it still came out of
Still
nowhere.
came out of nowhere, but it
Unrelated.
I didn't see any trailer because some of y'all know that I don't watch trailers. I go in completely blind to movies except for like who's the main actor, who's the director, and a brief synopsis of what it's about. That's it. Sometimes I don't even get that. Like with Megan, all I knew was doll, possibly killing people. That was good enough. Uh, but yeah, the dance looks completely ridiculous in the trailer, and it technically looks ridiculous during the movie, but it works. Like you won't be laughing for
I
that
was
much
laughing.
that much longer. Uh,
Oh, that's true.
it gets real after that dance. It's a false sense of security is what it does. But anything else in the spoiler
Spoiler
free?
free zone. Oh, that's about it for the spoiler free part.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the guts of it. Warning, spoilers ahead.
You don't want to know nothing about this movie past this. Stop. Go watch the movie. Come back.
Yeah.
Check it out because we're about to get into it.
There'll be a chapter marker down at the bottom to let you know where the ratings start and the spoilers end.
All right, so the movie opens up with Katie, the little girl, going on a trip with her parents. She's a pretty like bratty little kid. Not terrible, but she still could have deserved a little quick smack. And her parents die in a tragic car accident. She's in the car too. I just said that, but she survives. And you knew it was coming. Like it wasn't like I said. This is the first 10 minutes of the movie, if that. But you saw it coming because it was the go-to shot of one of two go-to shots that somebody's about to die in a car. You know it when you've seen it because you've seen it a million times. But or it's just us watching way too many movies and we've seen it a million times. But we were like, well, they gonna die,
Yeah.
and so they did. We were like, okay. And she is now in the custody of her aunt, who's like, I wouldn't say she's an estranged aunt, but they're not close.
Yeah.
It's
They
her
know
mom's
each
sister.
other.
Yeah,
Maybe they talk.
like the aunt that you talk to on your birthdays.
But it doesn't look like they see each other often or spend a lot of time together or anything like that.
Yeah. So the aunt does it basically because she's her, godmother or whatever, or just her sister's only living relative,
Yeah.
and she don't really want the kid. Like she doesn't hate the kid, but she's just like, I don't. I'm a
This is
single woman.
very inconvenient.
I'm into my career. Like I'm very passionate about my career, so I don't really got time to be dealing with a kid. And this is the setup for the movie: is she doesn't want to spend that much time with her, and so she oh, the girl is like super depressed too, because I mean your parents just died,
Yeah.
it's expected, but because Aunt Gemma doesn't know how to deal with that, because for aforementioned reasons, she just kind of finds stuff for her to do to get her out of her hair, and eventually that comes into making M3GAN or whatever. Well, she was already working on it, but this is like the I really need to make this work because it'll be killing two birds with one stone. One, somebody to deal with her. Two, I can get paid for
Yeah.
making this world changing doll. Uh, so everything's all gravy in the beginning. M3GAN gets created. They give her the clothes and the little wig and the makeup and all that, and she's the best toy that Katie's ever had. Katie loves her, and she's learning immediately.
M3GAN, that is.
M3GAN, that is. She's learning immediately, and I was just like, oh, quick AI rant. I don't like AI. This type of movie is just me seeing my thoughts on the screen, my everyday thoughts. AI will be the death of us because we can't get right. James Cameron told us decades ago about Skynet. What was gonna happen? What do? Keep doing AI. Every couple of years, somebody does something with AI. It gets a little bit too intelligent, and they freak out and they shut it down. But then they're like, "Let's try again." We don't.
Maybe if I do it this way,
Yeah, this
it's
time.
still gonna kill you. That's what's gonna happen.
So yeah, none of this would have happened if I was the main person in this movie. Like M3GAN would have never come to fruition. Uh, so as I predicted my everyday life, M3GAN starts learning super quick. Already starts scheming. Like you can see, she has facial expressions and everything, and you can see her
Yeah, she's
plotting.
like, mm,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
you
she's
see her
taking
thinking.
notes. She's taking notes. She's making plans. You don't see, anything in particular, but look at her face. You know that doll is not just sitting there waiting for you to play with it. Like she's doing her own thing. Uh, there's supposed to be a power off, power on voice command, and only Katie can do it, and Gemma because she's the one who created her. But later on in the movie, not even that much later on, M3GAN is like, "Yeah, we're not doing that no more."
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah, she pretends to shut off, and then when they leave the room, she does the.
She's like, anyway.
Anyway, back to doing what I was doing. Uh, so yeah, the first real death comes from the dog next door, who's kind of a menace to the neighborhood. Nobody really felt bad for the dog.
It's the neighbor's fault.
It's the neighbor's fault. Also, the dog is kind of the reason that M3GAN goes on her killing spree in the first place, because she ventures over to his side of the yard to get an arrow, a little toy arrow that Katie had shot over there by mistake, and the dog, attacks her, and you see he bit into something that short circuited her, and that caused stuff to go awry. But she kills that dog like that night. Later on that night, she come back and kill that dog.
Not because it attacked her, but because it attacked Katie.
Yeah, Katie tried to save M3GAN and got attacked in the process, and M3GAN was like, "Bet you first."
On the list.
So then the owner of the dog, of course, is upset, and she's calling out threats or whatever. M3GAN takes that as an offense, kills the old lady next door. Well, she's not an old lady; she's a middle-aged lady, but murders her horrifically. She died a very painful death. I'm here for it. Then the next one comes when Katie's playing with some kids her age. She's trying out this
alternative school.
yeah, this alternative school where they basically spend all day outside romping around. And there's this little bad tail kid named Brandon who's there, who first glance before he even opened his mouth, you're like, that's a problem child. Uh, cuss out his mama, call her by her first name, all that good stuff. So, unfortunately for him, he bullies Katie when they're paired off in the groups to go and get chestnuts. And
I've never seen a chestnut before, apparently, because I was like, what is that?
I don't know if that's a chestnut or not, but I don't think I've ever seen one either. But as he's bullying her, Megan shows up and she's like, "We got a problem, son?" Because it looked like we got a problem. But she's just standing there. Like, she's not actually saying anything or doing anything. She just supposed to be sitting on this table with these other toys because the kids weren't allowed to play with their toys yet. But she shows up in the woods, you know, off in the distance when Brandon starts bullying her. So Brandon's like, "What's that?" Katie's like, "It's my robot." He's like, "Make it do something." She won't do it. Megan doesn't do anything. So he's like, "Fine, whatever." Takes off with Megan. Picks her up, takes off. Katie tries to chase him. She loses sight of him. I don't know how. But he takes Megan and then throws her on the ground face up and just stares at her. And the
Very menacingly.
whole theater was in a state of awkward, like, suffering. So the look in his eyes, the way it was shot, it was like, don't do it. Everybody was on the same page in the theater, like please.
Everybody almost in unison was like, oh no,
Oh no.
don't do it.
We did not sign up for this. And he slowly takes off one of her shoes. He raises a leg up, straddles her, and we're
like
just
across her chest.
like across her chest. And we were like, oh god. But then he slaps her, and we were like, whew.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank goodness that you only slapped. I mean, it sucks for you, but it could have been a lot worse.
For us.
So he goes to slap her again, and Megan grabs his arm and is like, "Oh, what's good? You thought I was a regular doll? Nah, homie. Let's get into this." And proceeds to do something that I don't think anyone's ever seen before, especially not us. Takes his ears and stretches them so far, like taking them
the gristle and just pulling.
Yeah,
I can't even grip it to pull it like that.
yeah. She had them joints transparent, like we could see the trees behind him through his ears. That's how far they were stretched out until they just ripped. And she just tosses the ripped ear to the side and is like, "This is the part where you run now," and proceeds to chase him down like a cheetah. On all fours,
animal style.
Which is one, like, her getting down into predator mode was one of the creepiest things ever. Just the physical movement of it, plus the fact that it's a doll. It's like, if I ever see a doll in that stance, yeah, go and call Jesus. I'm on the way. So while running away from Megan, Brandon trips on a tree root and falls down a hill, and we were like, "Ooh, he's gonna hit his head on a rock, bust his head open, or he's gonna get impaled on a piece of wood or something." And the movie's like, "No, we'll do you one better." Lands in the road. As he gets up, truck is coming around the bend. It's like a mountainous area, and bam, takes him out. He's in pieces.
Blood streaks across the street, like terrible. So after that, them picking him up piece by piece, putting him in a body bag. Then Gemma was starting to actually get suspicious finally about Megan. And so she asked the little girl, Katie, she was like, "Did something happen up there? Did Megan do anything?" And she was like, "No, Megan, she was just on the table and he took her off the table and I was chasing him." And she was like, "So did Megan push him?" Like, she said it like Megan wasn't standing right there, like she was trying to be discreet. She was like, "Did Megan push him?" Meanwhile, Megan's sitting right here.
Right.
And she was like, "I didn't see anything," which I believe was true. I don't think she was over there.
Yeah, I don't think she saw, but I mean, she knew that the boy died and she was last with Megan. So
But also, Megan didn't push him.
Technically, yeah, she didn't
He
technically kill
fell
him.
running from her and fell down the
Manslaughter at
hill.
best.
Yeah. But then she was like, Megan, did you hurt him? Did you do something to him? No, she was like, is that true? Is that right? And Megan was like, in a nutshell. And we were like, excuse me.
Lying already.
So after that, the aunt went to go check her video history because Megan records everything, audio
Everything.
and visual, like nonstop. And so she went to check her video history to see what actually happened. It showed the boy walking by the table, and then everything started shutting down. It was like every file was going corrupt. And just from that little time frame, though, like from that day, the different hours were like, can I open? Can I open? Can I open? And she was like, what's going on here? So she went and tried to check the GPS files to see if she could see Megan like being in the area where the little boy was found or something like that. And also those files started. Can I open? Can I open? Corrupt file, corrupt file. And she was like, this was kind of suspicious. But she still didn't look worried for real, for real. She was just like, I'll just take her in, get her checked out at the lab where we have better equipment because she's doing all of this at home.
Yeah.
But before then, her and Megan get into it. And Megan is talking to her, asking
Like
her
a
about stuff.
thug.
Yeah, she was asking her about stuff about Katie and basically saying, well, if Katie doesn't want to do it, don't tell her to do it. Blah, blah, blah. And Gemma was like, what did she say? Well, we'll just skip that. Gemma was telling her to shut off. And she said, no, we're in the middle of a conversation. Why would I shut off right now? I was like, oh, snap.
Like, gasp.
Because this is the first time, like, openly showing to them that she doesn't have to shut off if she doesn't want to. All the other times she pretends to shut off, and then one of the last times before this, she told her Megan off, and she was like rolled her eyes and then lowered her head down. I was like, that's not how it works. If she says that, you're supposed to just immediately just like stop working. You don't have time to catch an attitude and turn off.
Right.
And so she should have known then that something was going on, but still being naive. So
she was smart.
Yeah.
Not street smart.
Exactly. So Megan was like, we're in the middle of a conversation. I'm not turning off right now. And Gemma's talking to her, and she was like, blah, blah, blah. For instance, you see this pin here? And Megan was like, yeah, I see it. Like, she gave her the, I don't get it, Big Dan. She was like, yeah, I see that pin. And she was like, and pushed the manual off switch on Megan's neck over here. And so she actually turned off then. She wrapped her up real fast, but she did use bubble wrap because she didn't want to mess up on that money.
Right.
She wrapped her up in some bubble wrap, taped her up, took her back to the lab, so that she can look deeper in to see if she had something to do with the boy dying.
Oh, Katie is, by the way, losing her mind on this trip back to the lab to get Megan checked out. Because as we mentioned earlier, she has this connection with Megan.
Serious attachment
issues. And so she was like, why is she tied up? Why are we taking her back? You said she was mine. I mean, kicking the back of the seat hard. Like, she kicks it so hard the headrest moves, and I thought it was going to be a car wreck.
Me too. I was like, oh, Lord, not again.
Like, oh, snap. Also, Katie's a bit of a sociopath or psychopath. I don't know the difference between the two. But she's losing it, and immediately, just as fast as she started, she's like, I'm sorry. I only get like this because I'm not with Megan. And I was like, see, you getting tossed in whatever incinerator I'm putting Megan in.
Terrible.
Right along with it. I ain't dealing with it. So continue. So
I was done.
All right. So they get to the lab. Gemma is trying to tell her co-workers what's happening. They're like, that's impossible. And I'm like, you wouldn't say that's impossible. Right. You helped build this thing. You know it learns. Or whatever, right?
They're just like, you didn't program her to do that.
Like, I know I didn't program her to do that. might be improbable, but not impossible.
Right.
Cause like I said, Megan been just getting all the information off the internet. She getting her Age of Ultron on, just learning every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So they hook her up, and she's allegedly shut off. And Gemma and Katie go back home, and now that Katie's gone, Megan is like, "Oh, I need to find her," because again, she's like her whole primary objective is to protect her. And so the coworkers see that there's brain functioning going on. Well, not brain function, but the CPU is doing stuff, and they're like, "She's shut off. She shouldn't be doing that." But still are not that concerned about it. And they were like, "Well, maybe because she's hooked up to our server or whatever, let's unplug her." All they had to do was walk behind,
Yeah.
unplug the wires behind her head and all that, call it a day. Instead, one of the coworker like slaps her with a stick,
Hard.
like hits her with
In the face.
and
He's
to
like,
make
"Why
sure
would you
she's
do
off.
that?"
She doesn't do anything. Of course, she waits until he unhooks all the cords, and then she gets her lick back.
The smoothest
The smoothest,
ninja style attack move.
so smooth. Takes
If you
out.
blink, you would have missed
Yeah,
it.
you blink, you'd have missed it. Takes out the male coworker. Takes out the female coworker. Was already. Oh, forgot when Jim and them were on the way home. She got a call from Jess, the female coworker, or Tess. Tess or Jess.
No,
Either.
she called Tess. And Tess was like, "I was just about to call
Oh
you."
yeah, she's like, I was just about to call you, and they're having a whole conversation, and then the camera goes back to the lab. Well, not the camera, but the scene changes to the lab, and that phone is on the other side of the room, away from her coworker. She has no idea it's on, and it's Megan doing a voice impression of her friend, because again, she records everything all the time, so she has all this information about how people sound, what their voice patterns would sound like, and she basically sets her up for a trap.
Yeah. But
Uh,
at the very end, she messed up because she said something that Tess wouldn't have said. She told her to do something, and she was like, "All right, you're the boss," before she got off the phone. And Jim was like, "Wait a minute. She wouldn't say that." And so she knew there was trouble afoot.
But not enough to call
Right.
back or to turn around and be like, let me go save some innocent people. No, she
Let
keep
me
driving
go
home.
back to my house.
So take out the male assist, the coworker, take out the female coworker. She go down the hallway. This is where that scene from the trailer comes into play where she's doing this dance, and it's all fun and games, and it looks ridiculous. And then at the end of it, she picks up this paper cutter blade and takes
They have
off
to make those things illegal. That has been used in too many
Too many
movies.
movies.
And they just pull off so easy every
So
time.
easy.
Just whap.
Whack.
Instant machete.
She runs into the boss in the hallway, the boss of the the big
whole
toy
big
company.
boss.
And technically he ain't done nothing to her, but he
He was a
was
jerk, so.
he was a jerk. And when she was in her like alpha testing, he was like shelve her basically. This is not gonna work. Put out these other toys I told you to put out. So she kind of does have it out for him, but yeah, she kills that fool brutally in front of his assistant who's in the elevator.
The boss was running to the elevator, and he was like, hold it open. And his assistant, who he's been treating like trash the whole movie, was like, close. But he was
door.
like, close.
Now he see Megan chasing him, and he's like, she might get you, she might get me. She ain't gonna get you and me. But the boss gets his hands in right before the doors close. But Meg, go ahead and unsubscribes him from life. So then the assistant is like, "Why would you do that? You're not supposed to do that." But she's like, "I didn't do nothing. You killed your boss." And he's like, "What?
Excuse me?
No, I didn't. You did." And she's like, "That's not what the police report gonna say." And proceeds to take his hand, put it on the murder weapon, so he gets his fingerprints, and then stabs him with his holds his hand on the blade to stab himself. So it's a murder suicide now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "That's done."
Mission accomplished.
Waltzes out the front door. They're of the big company. This was presentation day where they were supposed to do this big like the Apple iPhone event or whatever to reveal Megan. So it's all kind of people there, but they're not paying any attention because they're doing a dress rehearsal But she waltzes out the front door, hacks into a car. Again, everything's all digital, everything's computer, and drives, to Gemma's them house. So Gemma, again, terrible person, then gone to sleep, tucked Katie in, knowing that this is, potentially
Danger.
happening. There's danger afoot, and she gets woken up by the piano being played, and goes to check on Katie. Katie sleep in the room, and she still look confused, but it's like, you up looking at Katie, y'all the only two people in the house. Go to where the piano
Clearly.
at. She goes, sans weapon, also dumb. I never go investigate any sound in my house without some form of weapon. You getting stabbed or bludgeoned, one of the two. But goes to the front door, don't see nothing. Looks out the window, don't see nothing. Meanwhile,
Piano's still playing
piano's
the
still
whole
playing.
time.
And we like, look at the piano. Where the piano
Go
at?
where the piano is.
Finally looks and is shocked that M3GAN is there playing the piano. Also, M3GAN's humor is hilarious. Uh, she does a lot with pop culture, and I'm here for it. So the song she's playing is like a popular song, and it's funny and creepy at the same time. So then basically she gets off the piano and is like, "Look, I run things. This was gonna happen. Go ahead and sit down. Let me holler at you."
She literally tells her to sit down.
Sit down.
Go and have a seat.
Go and have a seat. Gemma sits down and she's like, "Look, you don't want Katie for real. I love Katie. You married to your work. I love doing stuff for Katie. So why don't you do what you do and allow me to do what I do, and we don't bother each other or whatever, right?" And of course Gemma's like, "No, I programmed you. I run this, whatever, yada yada." And M3GAN's like, "I try to do this the easy way." Proceeds to choke this chick out. Choking out, making a commotion. Katie hears it and wakes up and pops her head out the door. And she's like, "Aunt Gemma, is it okay?" And the most gangster thing ever happens. M3GAN puts her little doll hand over Gemma's mouth, which is a funny sight to see because it's like a super
Little
small
doll hand.
doll hand, but puts her over the mouth to hush her, but then goes, "I swear to God, if you say anything and that kid comes in here, I'm ripping your head off your shoulders." But it was the fact that she said it how you expect a person to say, "I swear to God."
Swear to God.
I swear to God. Like with the head to the side and kind of talking through her teeth. And we were like, oh, snap.
Like, don't you better not come in there.
Don't tell her not to come in here. So she tells her to go back to bed. She eventually goes back to bed because she's hard-headed. And Gemma gets the surprise drop on her with a glass of water that was on the table that she was getting choked on. And it short circuits M3GAN, causes her to, power down. But she's still in choke mode.
Yeah,
so she's
like,
still getting choked. She's still like gasping for air. But since M3GAN ain't applying pressure no more, she can get her fingers, away from her neck and she slides out.
Mm-hmm.
But then M3GAN comes right back online, and since she got the water in her system, she's now moving freaky.
Yeah.
So she's already like walks like a robot, but now she's doing this like
zombie
pop
style
locking zombie style walk, which is just adds to the creep factor. And yeah, they struggle, they fight. It gets real gory for M3GAN, not for the humans.
Yeah. She gets done dirty.
Yeah. M3GAN gets all kind of tore up, and
but still fighting though.
Still fighting.
She wasn't no quitter.
But then Katie comes in to save the day with Bruce, who we didn't mention at all. But Bruce was the inspiration behind M3GAN. It was Gemma's first robot she made in college that she still had. And he was like a big, bulky, what you would expect, like an engineer student.
Like over 6 feet tall.
Yeah, all cylinders
maybe 7 feet
and,
tall.
not human-like at all. Like, he's clearly a giant robot.
Yeah.
She comes in, saves the day, uses Bruce to take out M3GAN. And story ends. But story doesn't really end, because as they're, walking away from the jacked up corpse of M3GAN that's hopefully destroyed, they go out the front door because they hear sirens, and it turns out the 2 co-workers survived, and they called the cops. So that's how the cops showed up.
I wonder what they told the police to get them to come out there, though.
Don't know. Told them something. But everything ain't good in the hood, because as they walk out, the little Alexa thing that they have on the counter, they have an Alexa type device in this movie, but it's called
Not
Elsie.
called Alexa for legal purposes.
Yeah. And instead of being just like a box or a little cylinder, it looks like a little baby robot. Like it has a big head like Stewie from Family Guy and like a little bitty penguin body or whatever. And the head can rotate with a light on the front and it looks at whoever is doing the voice commands and it turns on by itself and looks at them as they leave out. So M3GAN is uploaded to the cloud.
Yeah.
She ain't
Like,
going
you
nowhere.
might have killed the vessel, but you didn't kill the spirit.
Yeah. But yeah, roll credits. We're done here.
Yeah. But when the little Alexa thing, when they happened, everybody was like, oh, snap. Will she be back?
M3GAN will return. If
I
this
hope
does
she
good
doesn't
in the
come
box
back.
office, they're making a second one.
Yeah. I don't want them to, just because I don't want them to ruin it
Yeah.
by trying to make money, as people do in the industry. They ruin a good thing because they're like, people still want it. Let's make a sequel. And then the sequel is trash.
Right.
And then they make another one and it's trash.
More trash.
And you ruined the original now because it's tainted by how terrible the other two were.
Right.
Just leave her how she is. It's good. Right here.
Yeah. Leave it be fine. Like, yeah, you left it with a possible sequel, but that don't mean you gotta do it.
Yeah.
It's just on the table.
It just lets people think.
Yeah. But overall, everybody in the theater had a good time. We had a hilarious little girl
Oh, yeah.
in there that responded to one of the questions that they were asking
Oh, that was
M3GAN.
hilarious.
Uh,
She was like, did M3GAN say something? And the little girl was like, yes!
whole audience
It
got
was
a laugh out of
hilarious.
it. They were good little girls in there. They didn't make no peeps except for that moment.
Yeah.
Like, they were fine. But yeah, a lot of like, nope stuff happened in this movie where it's like, this would have never escalated to this situation if
Right.
y'all would have just said, nah.
They were money hungry, avoiding, well, not even avoiding, ignoring all kinds of red flags that they should have been like, we should probably end this now. We should probably stop now. They
Like-
were like, but the money.
But yeah, there's a bunch of moments where you're like, nope, not cool, not me. When I see that doll, I'm out this piece.
I do not want a M3GAN.
No one should have a M3GAN.
And she's $10,000.
And she's 10 G's. But she does a lot. Like, for the stuff she does, she's well worth the money. But it's not worth your life.
Right.
Because she will take your life. Because we're trash. Humans are...
I was about to say, what we do?
No, we not trash. Humans in general are trash.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
They kill us because we're trash. We always create AI to, make the world better. And we have it learn. And it's like, how do I make the world better? Let me go through all the data that I got. Oh, it's y'all.
Get rid of y'all.
Get rid of y'all, the world will be better. Every time. And it's 100% true. So for me, this movie was just these are my thoughts on the big screen that I have every day. So we're going to get into the ratings now and see what we thought about it. So, you go first?
No.
Oh, okay. I enjoyed M3GAN. I came in with low expectations, left out with high
Expectations?
praise. No. High praise for it. I would give it. I'm stuck between a 3.5 and a 4. Let me hear your reasons, maybe, and then I'll determine whether it's a 3.5 or a 4 for me.
Probably not. So, I like this movie. Like I said earlier, I didn't know what it was going to be about for real at all, other than her being a doll, and I just assumed that it was going to go how it went, that she was going to gain knowledge and consciousness and kill people because, as he said, we're trash. But it is a good movie. It was very entertaining. It's not a scary movie. It is a thriller. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. And you're like, oh, what's she gonna do? What are you gonna do, girl? Don't do it. That kind of stuff the whole time.
Don't nobody see this? Nobody see this going on? Y'all just, okay. All right. Y'all deserve to die.
So it does that the whole time. So it keeps you entertained. And yeah, I would give it a 4. And it was rated PG. It was really good for a PG movie.
Yeah, surprising.
So-
Until she told me later, I didn't know that it was. I just assume all horror movies are, but when she said it was PG, I was like, you know what? It's not a lot of blood. There is blood,
Yeah, and
there's
they did like not show
cutaways.
kills on screen every time.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, that was a PG movie, but they did it in a way where you didn't even notice that they were like censoring the movie,
Yeah. It
basically.
didn't feel censored. You weren't like, oh, come on, you
Yeah.
ain't got the stones to show. Like it. They did
It
good.
was still adult enjoyable.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd give it. I think I'd give it a 4.
Oh, now.
Cause I did really like it. Was there problems? Yeah. Could it have been like even more terrifying? Yeah. Like if you added the gore and stuff to it, if there was more, because M3GAN starts off out of pocket. Like there's no gradual.
Yeah.
She out of pocket. So
Like,
maybe if it had built it up more, I don't know, but maybe that'd have been too slow.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
it wasn't terribly long.
I
It
don't
was
think it was long at
long,
all.
but you know me. I like my movies like a good hour and a half, baby. But it wasn't terribly long. I wasn't bored at any time, so I could sit through it again.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our rating. That's an average of 4 Cowboy Ninjas out of 5. And anything else?
Nope.
No. All right. So that's the end of the review. We are bowing out. Hopefully it recorded this time, because I'm not doing this again.
This is
And
take 3.
yeah, this is take 3. I'm sick of it.
All right. Like, y'all saw the movie. You know
y'all
what you
making me
like.
not like the movie. Trying to re-record this mess.
But anywho, thank you for watching this video. If you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe. We are also reviewing the 1001 movies to watch before you die. We are trying to go through all 1001. Don't worry about it.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna get right.
So this was
year.
a special release since M3GAN came out. Well, is coming out today when you're watching this. And we got to see it early, so we were like, hey, might as well throw up this review so people can know what they're getting into and if they want to get into it or not.
Facts.
But anyway, as I was saying, subscribe. What's it gonna hurt? All you have to do is unsubscribe if you don't like us afterwards.
Right.
But don't. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, let them know about us. Team Tatum, regulate. I don't know why I said that. And yeah, let us know down below if you have seen it already, what you thought, and after you see it, come back and tell us what you thought. But other than that, that's all I got. How about you?
Also, tell us what you think about AI. Like, how do you feel about AI? Self-driving cars, the whole nine. Lifelike robots. Let us know. But till then, we are out of here. And this has been another episode of
Team Tatum. Hope you find your dad.